Welcome everyone, another episode of the TreeCoin Podcast. I'm Demian, one of the co-founders and CEO, and I'm joined today by Azain Raban, Principal Carbon Specialist at Earth Systems, and with a background in nature-based solutions and the carbon sector for many years. So it's great to have you here, Azain.
Thank you, Demian. It's good to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I was excited because we've been doing some collaboration recently on carbon accreditation aspects to bring you in and get some of your thoughts on the bigger picture around the industry. And if we go straight to like the exciting core of I think why we're collaborating, it's because looking at the criticisms of the carbon market around the difficulty of participation, the overhead cost, and the kind of complexity of actually accessing it and participating. What do you see as like the opportunity for disruption from a system like TreeCoin that brings automation and blockchain simplification to the table in terms of the impact of upscaling climate action on a global level?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We've discussed this before around sort of at the moment the carbon sort of reduction space is dominated at the big end of town. So it's big corporates having large demands and then large project developers, trying to develop projects on the ground with these maintaining forests or regrowing forests or plantations and supplying to those corporate and sometimes government commitments to meet those government commitments. So I think what TreeCoin would be bringing into this space is that it allows with the sort of simplicity and also the technology that's involved, allows the smaller landholders, smaller growers who are interested in participating, being a part of the climate solution, global climate solution, which we all have to be a part of. It provides a platform to participate and contribute towards a solution. By growing trees in degraded land or in needed areas, by increasing the carbon stock that we need to do on land, either by growing trees or by putting carbon into the soil.
Yeah, and I mean you've been involved in this space for like many years, and
Yes.
You've been actively organising carbon credits from projects, getting them produced, published, and then sold on as well. So
Yes.
I know you've been putting in the hard yards to get that outcome. What sort of impact would it be on someone in that kind of role to have a much simpler system that actually removes a bulk of the manual effort required for checks, because it's massively automated and using the tech that we've got in so many other areas of life already and applying it smartly to the carbon process for the professionals who are in the space?
Yeah, I think it'll make a big difference because traditionally the carbon space, the carbon market, so to speak, was designed by the UN system, where it had lots of checks and balances, but also it involved a lot of bureaucracy and when it started off, didn't have a lot of technology incorporation to make it more efficient. With this sort of new technological approach, what we are seeing is we are able to sort of bypass some of those bureaucratic steps through, say, an efficient MRV process, your monitoring, verification, and reporting process, where technology is utilized, for example, to capture trees through satellite or remote sensing technology to see how many trees are on the ground, and then convert that into carbon quantities that can be verified independently, but also with this blockchain technology that can be used to trace where the carbon's coming from, maintaining a high integrity. So integrity has been a massive issue in the carbon market because we are looking at sort of paper trails and then theoretical calculations of carbon. which has sort of marred the progress to a certain extent. So and as I mentioned before, the bureaucratic steps involved in sort of engaging a certifier or a carbon standard, and then engaging a third-party auditor, that takes months and months. Usually a development of a project would take around 18 months minimum from initiating a project for it to be validated and registered by a reputable carbon standard. So it could be between 18 to sometimes 2.5 years. So it takes a long time. So I think with this, by using, say, the solutions that TreeCoin is bringing in, by having technology incorporated to capture the progress, more accurately, and that could be easily verified and tracked and traced and quantified, makes a massive difference.
Yeah, that's cool. And I know you've been close to the on the ground communities in global countries, Sri Lanka and other countries, who are the agricultural farming communities of those places that have forests, agroforests, and even reforestation opportunities. And I've seen them myself as well in Indonesia, and we're seeing them in coming up in our platform in several African countries at the absolute grassroots level. We've got a smartphone. They're already doing forestry projects. It's going unrewarded in terms of any carbon revenue, but yet the carbon work is being done untapped, and they would never be able to get into those big end of town schemes because those schemes are not designed to fit. It's like a square thing in a round hole. But what would you be excited to sort of work with communities that we can put a tool in their hands that empowers them to go, you can now directly access carbon revenue for your local community agroforestry?
Absolutely. Especially in, say, Asia and in Southeast Asia and also Africa, vast majority of the farming land or farmers are either smallholder farmers. So if they're contributing towards a climate solution by growing more trees and improving the health of the land and environment, they need to be benefiting from these schemes and compensated for the effort that they're putting towards these solutions. So at the moment, you're right, because for example, if you need to develop a project, you need to engage a standard that costs money. Then the auditing costs a lot of money, because so that's a barrier to entry for smallholder farmers out there on the ground that need this the most, really, for maintaining the land. So the cost could be, in excess of $25,000 or more, depending on the size of the project. So that's just auditing cost alone. So with this sort of system solution that you're talking about, smallholder farmers can access the market and put their sort of the carbon sort of stocks, whether it's in trees or let's say trees or even soil if needed down the track, but they're able to get the help to quantify it and then market it, and get a fair price for what they're growing on land. Apart from other agroforestry sort of benefits. Well,
and they can tell their own story in a transparent way that's like leveraging like social media skills that are now in the hands of everybody. And we were talking earlier about the story being important, the social benefits, the co-benefits of projects, really important for the buyers. And we think about from the corporate offsetter demand that wants to have high quality tokens with a great story behind them. What we're seeing at TreeCoin is some of those grassroots grower thinking of the Badilisha project in Kenya particularly has just got some fantastic incredible stories, like local school kids, local community volunteers just regreening an island, and they've been doing it all as a kind of, because it's the right thing to do for the island, and then we can come along and bring revenue to them to increase what they're doing and make it more sustainable. It's a fantastic story, and it doesn't need a marketing team or a middle layer, middle management to make that visible to the buyers. And so what would you see in terms of the buyer demand? We're talking about mostly corporates that, like I said, want to offset and have a great story. How does that sort of system need to improve, would you say, in the context of scaling up real action?
Yeah, again, a really good question, and you're right. Coming back to the story, the farmers themselves can share the story, and there's whether it's a smartphone, they can help monitor their project progress as well, and help quantify the carbon, tell the story, whether it's biodiversity, health, or other social benefits that they're benefiting through this project. Well, I think from a market point of view, current sort of most of the demand is coming from the corporate end of town. So they they want the story at the same time, and they want to hear these stories from the ground. So that sort of adds value to the credits or the tokens. But they require larger quantities, say, from a demand point of view. So I think what this system would enable, the TreeCoin sort of platform system would enable or allow the smaller buyers who want to be part of the solutions as well. They can be small to medium size companies who want to contribute towards these projects, but also individuals, philanthropists, and other groups who are interested in contributing towards solutions on the ground can be part of it. And because the platform is providing visibility of what's happening on the ground, the story, the people, they'll be able to engage directly with the grower and the farmer and see the benefit directly happening on the ground. So that's on sort of new sort of project scenario. But another flaw I see in the market, in the carbon market at the moment, that needs improving is that currently the carbon market is structured in a way where carbon is being sort of generated, carbon credits and tokens are being generated on new projects. And for existing sort of forested areas where communities usually help manage, those areas are not properly compensated. The current rate of deforestation globally is about 12% annually. Not annually, 12% over the last 20 years. And if you look at the Global Forest Watch website, for example, over the last 20 years, there's been a reduction of tree cover to the value of approximately 12%. So that's a massive deforestation rate that's happening, but there's not enough incentives in the market to protect the existing forest. The mechanisms are not very straightforward. There are mechanisms that, for example, RED mechanisms, the reduced emissions from deforestation and degradation. It's compensated. The formula that's used to compensate the protection of existing forests is not sort of straightforward. It's more for you get compensated for reducing the deforestation rate, but not for protecting the existing natural capital or the natural asset, as in forests, for example.
Yeah, well, and it takes me back to early days when we were launching TreeCoin, and in discussions with you were pretty excited about the business model. I think that being one of the reasons that we've got this need to protect existing forests and value that protection, as well as value the addition of new forests and the reduction of deforestation, all in one kind of integrated approach. And TreeCoin is designed for that. We've got the TreeCoin standard token, and you can go to our website and check out our socials for more information about this. It's got a opportunity for existing forests to participate, and then TreeCoin Plus, which will be coming up as our next offering for those forests, bringing the additionality as well. So it's all got to be part of the solution. And I think, again, myself, looking at the market where we've got a very niche purchasing demand from buyers that want to retire just the highest quality tokens that are the absolute sort of pinnacle of a very wide pyramid of niche. Yes, that niche is important, but the whole picture of preserving and enhancing global forests has to be kind of tackled, and that's what excited me about TreeCoin, because I could see the global opportunity. And the other feature of TreeCoin is that it's a blockchain token, which we're planning as part of the business model will become usable as a digital exchange of value, so people could trade long term in the future in a crypto sort of similar way. That this TreeCoin has a value, not just as a retirement token. So maybe just to finish off, like say a few words about what you think about those ingredients of a kind of integrated solution.
Yeah, I think that's the future really, because if you are using sort of modern technology, as in traceability, integrity of supplying high quality, verifiable carbon, or CDR, carbon dioxide removal projects going to be key to the success, to see real change happening on the ground, and then valuation and quantification of existing natural assets in the existing forests. For example, in a tropical environment, you could get the forest store between say 400 to 600 tons of carbon per hectare. In a reforestation project, new project, you start accumulating only about between 15 to say 30 tons of carbon per hectare. So that's a massive difference. So we need to really protect what we have, because they not only store carbon, but they also they produce oxygen at the same time. So and those natural assets need to be in a position to compete with other sectors, like with this palm oil conversion or sugar or plantations or any other or pulp for paper, for example. Those natural assets should be in a position to compete with those industries that end up in deforestation activities. So that's going to be key, and I'm really positive to see platforms such as TreeCoin coming into the market, because I think it'll make a massive difference to add value towards the natural capital that we already have, but also make things more efficient, have integrity, traceable through blockchain, and quantifiable through sort of geospatial and remote sensing technology, and make the process more efficient, so we can tap into the untapped sector in the world, that is the smallholder growers that can supply, but also the buyers who are not the top end of town, not the corporate sector, who are able to participate and get this movement going, so we have a massive impact over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and beyond. Yeah, well, it's been really cool talking to you.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming in and spending the time putting your brain to the great task ahead.
No, great, well done, and all the best to TreeCoin. And
Yeah.
I can see this, becoming a success, a massive success in the future.
So, thanks for watching the podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our socials: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. And email us on hello@treecoin.global with your suggestions for what you'd like to hear us talk about next. Thanks, everybody.